Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. You are here for another installment of my Dollar Tree 2021 calendar series. These calendars are so popular this year. So I'm going to be using one of the pictures from this God Bless This Farm calendar. It's covered with, or full of all sorts of pictures of animals on the farm. And I'm going to be using as my background this faux wood slice. I got it at Hobby Lobby for $1.49 on clearance. So the first thing I need to do is get this price tag off of here. And I was going to try to soak the paper off of the front of this, the part that says Country Life, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that. I am going to base coat it out in a little bit of paint though, because I'm noticing with these calendar pictures that they are very thin and you can see through them. So this is a very interesting setup for a hanger. It's got the knots through clear down here, but on the back it's all stapled in nicely, and it also has a hanger. So I'm going to try to leave all of that intact by just untying the knots, and I'm hoping that I can feed them back through when it's all said and done. We'll see. They're pretty frayed, so I don't know. It may work, it may not, and we'll just go with the flow. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Luckily they're only single knotted, so it's not going to be too hard to get them undone. Well, if they were double knotted, I'd have more rope to work with at the end. All right. Uh-oh, that one really came apart. Only part of the rope came through. Okay, so I've got those untied, and I'm just going to pull them back through to the back side. Okay, now I can take these staples out and replace the rope if I need to, but I'm going to try to not have to. In an attempt to keep this clean, I'm going to tape the rope down on the back side, just to keep it from getting painted. That'll help keep them from coming any more unraveled than they already are. Alright, so I've got my rope all protected here, and I love this Christmas horse, but he's too big for this particular background. What I'm thinking is the little piggies just called out to me on this one. I really love these. And what's fun is that the main picture is off to the side on a lot of them. I like the goat too. Like this kitty is kind of off to the side. So I'm thinking some of those oval trays from the Dollar Tree would be good. I love this one for spring. Gotta love the chickies. But what I'm going to work on is the pigs. Pigs are so popular. I don't have a lot of pigs in my decor. I do decorate farmhouse, but if I have a pig, it's usually just a black silhouette. So I thought it might be fun to get some pigs out and done. So I'm going to take this and kind of lay it. I want to get the whole mama pig. I don't care too much about having the bacon portion of this one. So I want to make sure I get mama's snout and nose, and I want to make sure that I get the babies. Now it looks like I'm only going to be able to get one full baby and just the face of the other. It's going to be close. So I'm just going to take my pencil and go around so I can kind of see. Oops, I didn't get all the way around. Close though. Just connect those lines. Okay, so I've got the pencil. I don't know if you can see the pencil mark there. You can kind of see it. It's going to get the head of this piggy, all of this piggy, and most of mama. Most of mama in there. It's going to clip off just the tip of her nose. So what I'm thinking is I want to paint this out just to the edge and leave this little wood look edge piece right here. So I'm going to actually cut this a tiny bit smaller. Okay, so I want to cut the circle a tiny bit smaller, and what I've discovered is that the large burner cover is just about right. So I'm going to use it as my pattern to trace. Now, if you don't have this piece from Hobby Lobby, which is probably, unless you found them when they were on clearance, you probably don't, because I don't think they have them anymore. I think they were part of their spring thing. You can use the burner covers from the Dollar Tree. You could put it inside and have this edge, or you could put it on the outside and have it pop off the wall. And then you also have the smaller size burner cover that you can use for something else, and then you can make a little pair. Alright, so I'm going to kind of position this where I get the most bang for my buck, where I want it for the picture, holding it down, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace it, and I'm going to cut on this line. Okay. So the main focus is going to be the mama pig and this pig, and we're going to get a little bit of this pig in here and the bacon portion of this one. I need to cut I need to cut this as straight and even as I possibly can. If you have a circle cutter tool, this would be a good time to use it. Here's what I'm ending up with. And it will go on here quite nicely, actually. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and paint this out. I'm going to go ahead and use black because the writing on the back of the calendar is black. I could also use like a dark brown. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use brown. I think that brown will be better because any parts that show, it'll blend in a little better to the edge of the wood. So what I'm using is Waverly's chalk paint in Truffle. I shook the paint up, so I'm going to use what's in the lid, and I'm going to very carefully paint along the edge of that bark line. Now, and then just for fun, I'm going to get out my mineral chalk paint. This is Waverly's chalk paint in mineral, and this is just kind of halfway between, oh, this is brand new, halfway between this dark truffle brown and the brown that was on the center, kind of the wood tone color. I'm just going to dip in with a small brush, and I'm just going to kind of wipe off in the lid. And I just kind of want to dry brush in along there while the paint is still damp, and just kind of give it a blending effect into the edge that was there already from the store, because some of these edges are going to show. If you're just using the burner covers, you don't have to do this. You can just cut the picture exactly the size of the burner cover and have it go right to the edge. You could even have it go, well, over the edge would be a little bit hard, but okay, so this needs to dry, and I'm going to use my heat tool to speed that process up. Now, make sure that you have your piece straight up. There's the two holes. I mean, if you've got your hanger on it already, if you're using something, repurposing something that already has the hanger, make sure that you've got it to the top. And I'm going to coat this entire piece. Even the spots that I know are going to show, I'm going to coat them with Mod Podge. If I had a, just gonna pour a little out because my jug is getting very low. I need to get some more. It's hard to dip in clear to the bottom. So this coat of Mod Podge will also help to protect the paint and the edges and all of that good stuff. Making sure to get Mod Podge on the edges. Okay, I'm just going to turn it real quick and have my brush strokes go the other way. Doing this just to kind of smooth out the Mod Podge a little and to make sure that I got a good even coat. Now my Mod Podge is getting a little bit old, so I have a few little dried up pieces, so I need to make sure that those are out. They're off the piece before I lay down my paper. Alright, making sure that my top is at the top. Gonna lay down the piggies and center them as best I can. I probably could have gone a little bit bigger with my circle and been just fine. So either this log is not a true circle or my burner cover was not a true circle, because this is not even. Alright, I'm going to use my brayer tool. If you don't have a brayer tool, rolling pins work, credit cards work, anything that's a flat edge that can scoot the bubbles out. That will adhere it down nicely and minimize the wrinkles. Anytime you put paper on and you get it wet, you risk wrinkles. So, got one for me here, my little piggy. Let's smoosh it up. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge over the top, starting with my edges, sealing these little piggies in. Now, if you're experiencing a lot of wrinkling on your particular calendar page, then let the first layer of Mod Podge underneath there dry completely before you start putting the second coat on top. I think that will just help minimize it, and then you can work with it a little bit more, and as you see wrinkles forming, you can rub them down. You'll probably still get wrinkles, but you won't get so much of a bubbling. I've got a little bit too much Mod Podge on this one. Let's scoop some off here. Alright, now I'm going to make sure that my brush strokes all go in one direction, because that will give me a better looking finish when I'm all done. It's all dried and ready to go. You can do them top to bottom, side to side. I'm doing these just a little off center, not quite straight. And when you're doing this, it also, your brush will hang up where you don't have as much Mod Podge, and so you'll know you need to put a little bit more there. Okay, so I have some bubbles forming, so I'm going to smush it down with my brush and then brush over it. Continue to lay off my things. Now I'm going to go this way just real fast. Making sure that I've got those edges sealed down nicely. Alright, I'm going to hit this with the heat gun just to speed up the drying process a little, to hopefully keep it from wrinkling quite as much. It is not completely dry, but it's well on its way. I'm going to kind of hold this up so you can kind of see. There's a bubble right there. There's some wrinkles on Mama's head. It's because these calendars are so thin. Then there's where I touched it and shouldn't have. I can just dress over the top of that and it'll be fine. So catch the light here. Trying to catch the light so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, the rest of it came out pretty well. I'm really quite pleased with how smoothly this went down. I can see right here that I don't have as much Mod Podge as I have in other places. I can just see that it's thinner. Okay. There's a bubble right there on baby's nose. Let's see if I can catch the light for you. It's hard to do. Okay. Well, I guess in that angle, I can't show you that one. But it came out pretty smooth. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, I'm going to let this dry for a couple of hours on its own so that it's good and dry. Because see, I have like Mod Podge puddled up right there on the edge where it got pushed out. And I want that to dry. And then we're going to take a little more black paint and touch up the edges of the bark. That's not white paint, that's Mod Podge. It hasn't dried yet. Once that's dry, we can touch up over the top of it. Do a little distressing to cover up my boo-boo. Maybe help hide some of these bubbles. Now, when your Mod Podge is almost completely dry on top, or completely dry on top, you can push down a bubble, and you'll still see the shape of the bubble, but you won't have that big, huge blister on there. It'll turn more into a wrinkle than into a bubble, and I think that looks better. So push down. Once your Mod Podge on top is dry to the touch, it's just the tiniest bit sticky. Make sure your fingers are clean, and go ahead and push down on those bubbles and flatten them a little bit. All right, to the side with this to let it dry. Alright, the piggies have dried. I was going to do some paint distressing on here, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to take my sandpaper and just scuff it up a little bit. I'm not looking for perfection here, just going to scuff it up. Turn this to where the light is. You can see that it dried pretty flat. There's a couple of little bubbles, and I'm okay with those. And so now I'm going to take something pokey and put my holes back through. I don't like that it goes right through the piggy's nose, but that's the way it is. If I hold it up to the light, I can see through there. This is just a little tool from my Cricut tools. A paper piercer would do, a bamboo skewer would do this fine. Okay, and I'm going to untape all of this from the back. I kind of wish that there were some metal words at the Dollar Tree that had to do with farm or farmhouse or something like that. Okay, I'm going to use my little trick for threading rope through. Going to put a little bit of glue on it, and I just happen to have my wood glue sitting here, so that's what I'm going to use. If you've seen me do any of my farmhouse garlands where I thread the beads on, this is how, instead of putting tape on the end of my string, I like to put a little bit of glue, and it just stiffens it up and makes it kind of like a needle. Now this one's come undone quite a bit, so I'm going to have to twist it back together first. It's just come undone all the way around here. Oop, that was a little more than I needed. But this just stiffens it up. It's going to hold all of those strands together for me. Okay. Now I'm going to thread these back up through the hole, hoping that it all holds together. And I'm going to do my best to tie a knot here. Now the glue is still damp, which I'm counting on it helping to hold the knot in place. It's very short and it's hard to get it tied. I don't like to mess with factory hangers if I don't have to. Okay. So now it looks like he's got a big old wart on his nose, but that's okay. It's a pig. And there's my first Bless This Farm hanger. Okay. I could put a bow on it or whatnot if I wanted to, but I really just don't think I want to. Alright, there you have it, my first project from the God Bless This Farm calendar from the Dollar Tree. Let me know in the comment section below. Have you been able to find any of these calendars at your Dollar Tree? And if so, which ones? And which one is your favorite? That way I can focus on that particular calendar for doing some projects. Let me know what you're thinking about this project in the comments below. And if you like this project, please give it a thumbs up. That helps my channel to grow. And it helps me also to know what it is you like to see on my channel so I can keep making content that you like. Alright, this has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.